Hello, and welcome to a video by a small creator doing a tier list. Very original take, I would say. No one else is doing this. I'm the first one, nobody else. So today I thought we would be taking a look at a Marvel tier list. I don't know if you could tell, but I like that. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's start off and do Iron Man. Where are we gonna put Iron Man? Okay, so I really like this film a lot. I know a lot of people do. It's pretty common that a lot of people like the first Iron Man film. It started everything, and they didn't start with a dud, so that's good. Jon Favreau did a great job starting this universe off right. I think I'm gonna go ahead and give it an S. It's the first one, and it's so good. It's hardly got any flaws, any serious flaws. The Incredible Hulk, one that a lot of people don't like. And I know why. I don't agree. I think it's a good movie. A lot of people have called it the black sheep of the MCU. I would definitely agree with that. Probably because it was made by Universal and is very early stages of Marvel. And in my opinion, I enjoy this one a lot. But I'm going to give this one, for right now, I'm going to give it a C. Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 gets a lot of crap as well. It gets a lot of crap because of the multiple storylines that are through the movie. They connect, but they don't connect. They don't really connect. They kind of go nowhere. The only plotline that goes anywhere is the Justin Hammer and Whiplash storyline. He's like dying at first, and then they solve it really quickly. Black Widow's kind of just thrown in there. But again, I still really enjoy this movie. It was the first movie I saw in theaters. Oh, the first MCU movie I saw in theaters. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a B. I'm going to give it a B. No, I changed my mind. I'm going to give it a C. Okay, the first Thor movie, I'm going to go ahead and place it in B. The first Thor movie is, in my opinion, the second best. The second best Thor movie. I think a lot of people probably say it would be. A lot of people don't like the new ones, but I enjoy the Shakespearean mythology that's in the first Thor movie. It's very, like I said, Shakespearean. It feels very sophisticated, even when it's fish out of water when he's down on Earth. I'd give it a B. It's pretty good. Captain America: The First Avenger. I like this one. I think it's better than the first Thor movie, and I think it's better than the Hulk and Iron Man 2, but I don't think it's as good as Iron Man 1. So I think for now I'm gonna put it above the first Thor movie, and we can go back and change this. We'll go back and line them up so that they're in a order that I like, or that we like. You know, not trying to appeal to anybody, but my opinion is pretty much the masses for the most part. The first Avengers film, this is my second or third. It's one of them. It's one of my top 5. I love this movie a lot. I like it a lot. I think it's better than the first Iron Man movie. I think it's just one of the best Marvel movies ever. And I think a lot of people agree with that. I can't really speak for them, but I would think that a lot of people would say that it's top 10 at least, you know? Okay. I think our first controversial one. I like Iron Man 3 more than the other two. However, there are things about it that make it worse than the first one specifically for me. The twist on the Mandarin is something that's brought up a lot, but the twist on the Mandarin for me doesn't bother me. It's honestly not the worst thing about the movie. I would say it is a downside of the movie, but the worst thing for me is Aldrich Killian. Just a bad villain. Guy Pearce does a great job playing him, but it's just not a good villain. He's not a good villain. I'm going to give this one an A. I enjoy just about everything else about it. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, I'm probably going to put The Dark World in S tier because of my opinion that I just gave about Iron Man 3. But no, I do have the same opinion of Thor: The Dark World that most people have, which is it's one of the worst. And I still think it's one of the worst. Like, I'm going to put it in D, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. Next up, we have Captain America: The Winter Soldier, arguably one of the best films, probably arguably the best film in the entire franchise. I would say it's probably a top 10 for me if there weren't so many movies that I could put in top 10. It's definitely one that I could easily consider top 10. It's not as rewatchable for me as it is for most people. I think it's not as watchable as Iron Man 3 in my opinion, but it is better than Iron Man 3. The first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I like it more than anything in A tier. I think it's an S. I think the first Guardians movie is an S tier. You know what? Yeah, I think it's probably, yeah, it's S tier. It's S tier for sure. Next we have Avengers Age of Ultron. I like this one more than a lot of people do as well. This one, I've always said that this one reminds me of a weekend adventure with the Avengers. Like, it's just kind of, oh, villain, gotta go stop that. You know, I don't know. I kind of view it as a little fun, a little adventure between movies. Even though it's Ultron and he tries to blow up the city with a rock. I think I'm gonna stick it in B because it's a lot of fun. I think it's the most rewatchable of any of the Avengers movies, but it's not as good as the other three. So I'm gonna land it in B. It's gonna be the bottom for right now until I can think of where it might go later. The first Ant-Man movie is really fun, a lot of fun. I think it's a B tier, but I think it's better than the other ones in B tier. It's a lot of fun, just a good heist film. Captain America Civil War. This one is in my top 5. I could not explain how happy it made me when they introduced Spider-Man in this movie. I was ballistic. I was in 6th grade, I think, 6th or 7th grade, and I went bonkers, absolutely nuts, absolutely wild, wacky. You might say. It's one of my favorites. People think it's not as good as Winter Soldier, but I think it's better. I'm sorry, but I think it's better. It's so much more emotional for me. Not to spoil anything. I mean, it is going to spoil something, but this movie's been out for, what, 7 years? No, not 7. 7 years. Wow, I was right. Okay. Wow, 7 years. Is that right? That's right. Wow. Now I'm baffled that came out 7 years ago. It's gonna go an S. I like it a lot. The first Doctor Strange movie. I think it's better than the first Ant-Man movie, but I don't know if it's A tier. I don't think it's A tier. It might be low A tier. I'm really generous with these. I'm very generous with these, you will come to find, and you'll really see that in one of the last ones that we do. By the way, I'm only doing the movies. I'm not going to do the shows. It's hard to rank the shows and the movies amongst each other. Also, like the Werewolf by Night and Guardians Holiday Special won't be up here. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Not as good as the first one, but pretty good. It's going to go in the middle of B. I think it's a better movie than Thor or Avengers Age of Ultron, but it's lacking a lot in terms of the first movie, and I like these other two movies way more. Not way more, but like I like them more. I like them a normal amount of more. Next we have Spider-Man Homecoming. It's not really divisive, but a lot of people don't like it because it's a new take. It's a new take on Spider-Man. A lot of people praise Tobey. I love Tobey, but I think this movie's not as good as the original movie. Not as good as a Spider-Man story. And honestly, it's not as good as a Spider-Man story or a movie, but I think it deserves respect. It's really good. It tells a new perspective, or a different take on the Spider-Man story. It's the first time he's in the larger universe, the larger MCU. But it's not my favorite. There's a lot of moments that I wish I could cut out because they are cringe. I think it's very rewatchable. I don't think it's as good as the first Raimi film, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to put it in C. But that's not a bad thing. Even if a movie gets put in F, it's not a bad thing. I still find it enjoyable. Thor Ragnarok, the best, undeniably the best Thor film. The story is good, the humor is good, the character development of all the characters are really good. A lot of people say Thor's humor came out of nowhere, but I think it was very gradual. they just kind of skipped a step. It's kind of like Wanda from her introduction to Age of Ultron to Multiverse of Madness. They kind of build it up. They build up that she's going to be evil one day, but they kind of skipped a movie or a show in between there, in between WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness, where she could have become more of an antagonist. That's what they kind of did with Thor for me in terms of his humor. But it still makes sense for me. It still makes sense that he is more human on the inside. This one is one of my S tiers. Yeah, that's one of my S tiers. The first Black Panther film, in my opinion, is very overrated. Not for its cultural influence. I think that's great. I think it's a great thing. But overrated as hell, because there's no way that this was the first one to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. There's no way. There's no way that it was, and it didn't have a factor of its importance and its fact. And I think if it's going to be nominated for an Oscar, it should be good. I think the new one should be nominated for an Oscar, and it is nominated. I think if either of the two Black Panther movies, the second one is definitely more deserving of one, because it's a good movie and it actually tries to be really good. And Black Panther tries to be good, but it's just not as good as a lot of people make it out to be. But I still love it. I still really like it. I'm gonna give it top of B. I think that's where I'm gonna land with that one. Infinity War.
Hooray!
Yes. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Not as good as the first Ant-Man movie, but in my opinion, better than a lot of people say it is. However, I think it's gonna go in C. Still really like it, but there's something about it. I don't know if it's for some reason, every time I think of it, it reminds me of the color like gray. Like it just, because it is kind of a gray movie. Captain Marvel, I like it more than most people. However, it's probably D. It's probably D. It's D. I like it more. I like it more than I thought I would, and I like it more than most people do. I used to not like Brie Larson when it first came out. I was one of those. I was like, Brie Larson, ew. But as time has passed, I've realized that there's really nothing wrong with her. She's not an amazing actress, and the movie isn't the worst. As of right now, it's obviously the worst, but it's not the worst overall. Endgame. Boy, a lot of people, for some reason, a lot of people I've seen don't like it almost at all. But the majority of people I've seen have gone like this. They've gone like that. But for me, it's this. The experience I had with Endgame was more than I'll have with any other movie, besides maybe Secret Wars, maybe King Dynasty and Secret Wars, but most likely Secret Wars, I would assume. But I literally have grown up with this franchise and these movies, and so Endgame was like a conclusion to part of my life. It was like a chapter of my life closing, and I still feel that way. Every time I watch it, I feel like I could. When I watched it the first time, I came out of the theater and I felt like I could die right there. I felt like I could just drop dead at that moment and be okay with it. And I think it's a really good feeling to have about a movie. Sure, it's got its problems. It's not as fluid as Infinity War. It's not as good in its storytelling as Infinity War, but it wasn't made to be an Oscar-winning movie, and neither was Infinity War, but it definitely was above in that category. But Endgame to me was just trying to be a big bang, just to be a big ending, and it covered that. It's surpassed that, and it's, in my opinion, honestly, it doesn't get better than that. It's honestly it's at a spot for me that's unrankable. It's literally like in my notes app on my phone, I have a list of the movies ranked, and that one is above my number one as just like an infinity sign, just because I like it. I won't be topped. The experience for me that I had with it just is too strong. So I actually, funny story, I cried so much I lost all the water in my body, and I almost passed out when the movie was over. I started crying from the moment, it's not a spoiler. It is, but you've seen it. When Black Widow dies, to the end of the credits, to walking out, I cried nonstop. Joyous, sad, tears, it doesn't matter, I cried. And I didn't drink anything before the movie. So that was 3 hours of water gone out of my body. That's a lot of water, and I almost passed out. But I didn't. And the guy in front of me stood up when the movie was over, and he looked at me, and he said, "Can I give you a hug?" And he gave me a big hug, and that was a good moment. I liked that a lot. Anyways, that's enough of that. Spider-Man Far From Home, again, I like it more than most people. I don't like it. I do like it more. I like it more than Homecoming. Even though I can agree that it's probably not as good. It's probably not as good as a movie in terms of creation. There are some goofy moments in it when he jumps out of the bus and he doesn't move and he just spins the webs. But you can't beat that ending. And I know it's technically the post-credit scene. But you can't beat that ending. Oh my gosh. When Mysterio comes on, J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson comes back. Crazy. They did not have to do that, but they did. But I am in the minority, and I think Far From Home is probably bottom of the barrel of B. Bottom of the B list. It's probably bottom of the B list. That's probably right. Black Widow. Okay, I'm not even gonna... It's my least favorite. It's a F for me. But I still find it watchable. I still enjoy a lot in it. What makes it an F for me is Taskmaster. Oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they did that with Taskmaster. How are you going to take one of the greatest villains, well, maybe not one of the greatest, but one of the most charismatic and charming and fun villains, and make him mute and just take his personality away? I don't care that he's a woman in the movie. I don't care, because they could still make a woman have the personality of the comics Taskmaster. It does not matter. It's just the fact that they stripped that character of the personality and the voice, that deep kind of voice. And a woman can have that voice too. She could have killed that, I'm sure. But they didn't. They didn't do that. And hopefully Thunderbolts redeems that character. That movie will still be my least favorite, but hopefully it redeems that character. Shang-Chi. This was a big surprise. I really like this one a lot. I think it's probably A tier, in my opinion. A lot of people think it's overrated now that it came out and they've had time to think about it. But I still think it's probably like bottom of the A tier. It's really good. It was really strong. It was kind of unexpectedly good. The choreography is insane. A lot of Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, Simu Liu. The moment Simu Liu came out on stage at Hall H, I immediately wanted to see him with every other actor. I was like, he's perfect. He literally is. He was born to be in this universe just because of how he acts, how he is as a person. Okay, the next one is Eternals, and a lot of people would probably have this not on the list at all. A lot of people probably would consider that this movie shouldn't exist. I do agree that it should have probably been a show. I like it more than Black Widow, but it's still F. But I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, and I enjoy it more than most people do. And that's all I care about, is being right. I like being right. I'm better than you. No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home. I love this movie. I love this movie so much. It's almost Endgame for me. It's almost that kind of experience. Almost. I would say it's probably my number one movie under Endgame. So I think I'm probably going to put it in S. I'm going to put it right there in S. And I think it's probably my number one besides Endgame. The return of Toby and Andrew, all the villains. Jamie Foxx and Alfred Molina came back and killed it. Jamie Foxx got that redemption he needed. Oh my gosh. Alfred Molina came back, did his thing. He was still as good. All it did was add on to that last performance for me. Willem Dafoe, though, in my opinion, Willem Dafoe did better in this movie than in the first Spider-Man. He literally, this movie came out, and he took the number 2 spot villain for me. So it goes Thanos and then Green Goblin and then like Loki and like some others. I'm pretty sure he killed it. He was really good in terms of performance. For me, he was almost, if not just as good as Heath Ledger as the Joker. And that's my hot take. Maybe. That might be a lukewarm take. Next we have Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Again, I like all these movies more than everyone else does. I do. I just do. I like this more than a lot of people do. However, it's probably a C tier. It's not as good as Homecoming. So I'm going to put it right there. The Illuminati scenes, a lot of people think are pointless, but I don't know. There's something fun about them. We got John Krasinski as Reed Richards, and he was great. I don't care what anybody says, he was great. We got Patrick Stewart back, even for just a moment. It was nice. He got killed, but it was nice. Thor: Love and Thunder. The movie that if you aren't already subscribed, you're going to unsubscribe. Because I think this movie is better than a lot of people say. And I think it's better, specifically, than Far From Home. And a lot of people are going to think that I'm an idiot or I'm insane for putting it in B tier, but it's in low B tier. And one of the complaints I don't get at all is how it has less serious moments than Ragnarok. Huh? Because Ragnarok, last I checked, they joke during the blowing up of Asgard. Korg throws in a joke there. It's not really a joke, but it's meant to be a humorous moment. And in Love and Thunder, there are no jokes during any of the serious scenes. At least no real jokes. Like, I guess the most jokes you could say is in the beginning when Gore becomes the God Butcher and he kills Rapu, more like Rapupi. Rapu is kind of a humorous character just because he's an asshole. But that's it. I don't know. I mean, seriously, yeah, what's so funny about his girlfriend dying in his arms from cancer? Spoiler alert, but most of you aren't going to watch the movie anyways if you haven't already seen it. So they don't make any jokes in the serious scenes. And I could almost say the same for Ragnarok, but they honestly did it more in Love and Thunder. I liked it a lot. Next up, we have the most recent, actually that's the last one, the most recent title is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And I think it's probably top of A tier. It's probably the top of A tier for me. Namor was really good. All the supporting cast were really good. Ramonda M'Baku was good as comic relief, but he had a couple good moments. Nakia and Okoye were really good. I liked Riri Williams. I was so worried I wouldn't like her, but I liked her. She was really enjoyable. She honestly felt like Peter Parker to me in terms of like just how she acts. So I think if you act like Peter Parker, you're probably a good character. But she also had her own personality traits in there, so it wasn't just like rehash of Peter. I think Shuri, oh my gosh, this movie depended on Shuri being good as Black Panther and as a character, because I didn't like Shuri at all when she was first introduced. I didn't like her at all. And Wakanda Forever changed that for me. It upped her character for me. It was like, yeah, Chadwick is gone, unfortunately, but you're still going to have Black Panther, and it's still going to be really good. I think everyone can agree that the story and the character probably would have been better if Chadwick was still here, rest in peace, but he wasn't. And I'm one of the opinion that I would have not minded a recast. The only thing is I think they should have given it more time and then recasted, so that way people had time to mourn. But I think he's a fictional character, you know? And Chadwick Boseman he is a person that you can tell would just know that he's not as big as that character is. I mean, he wasn't as big, you know, but he put life into that character and made it as big. And it would be a disservice to the character to not continue him. I don't think Chadwick would have wanted the character to die with him. I can't say what he would have wanted, but it just seems like he would have, you know, just from things that we know about Chadwick. It just seems like he would have. We're gonna line them up here. We'll line them up. These two are good. These two are good. Let's see this one. This one good. I'm gonna change that. Yep. We got Hulk. Okay. That's good. Far From Home last. I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna put Ant-Man here. Put Captain America there. I'm gonna put Guardians there. And that's probably it. That's probably that good list. That's probably good. Okay. A list. That's good for me. That's good. That's also good. That's good. I think this is our list done. So, yeah. This is the definitive list, and no one can say otherwise. Thank you for watching. If you did, go ahead, subscribe. Go hit that like button. I'm hoping to do a lot more. I would love to do a lot more. Hopefully the YouTube algorithm picks this up and says, hey, people that like tier lists and Marvel, here's a video that you might like. But anyways, yep, if you are new here like everybody else in the world, so the person that I'm not talking to right now, if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Join our army. We're building a small country, take on Iran. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.